How's it going, guys? I've messed this up a few times, but don't worry. This is the take that will work the best, I assure you. I have some downtime, and a lot of people have been asking me to do some sort of Frost guide. Given the fact, I've been playing her a lot since the patch. She pretty much is just like the only real character I've been playing, and probably will for quite some time. I have some downtime here, and a number of people have been asking me to put some kind of guide or, breakdown together of Frost and how she works. And, yeah, I have some time, so I figured I'd do this live, as some people in chat are asking about it, and I figured, what better time than now? So I'll give you guys some general do's and don'ts, tips on what to do with Frost, and how to make her work, things she's good at, things to avoid, stuff like that. I'm going to keep it pretty simple, and I'm only going to be talking about Ice Machine, as it stands, in the patch of the game we're playing on at the moment, when this video goes out. This is really the only variation worth picking. Frostbite is still not great. It hasn't really got much of the same kind of accessibility, so we're going to be ignoring Frostbite. This is pretty much just going to be Ice Machine, as I think this is definitely her best and only real variation that is competitively viable, in my opinion. So first things first, we're going to break down a couple of categories on what you need to do with this character to make her work, as well as talking about some things that have changed about her in the patch and how that now works into her new game plan. So first things first, you look at her move list. I'm gonna mark some of the best moves you'll be using with her, sort of like key normals, right? So we'll start off with just single buttons and some strings that follow up from them. So first things first: standing 1, standing 2, standing 3, down 3, and down 1. Actually, I'll do this in order, so it'll make more sense. Hang on a minute. So standing 1, standing 2, standing 3, down 1. Down 3, down 4, and that should be it for now, at least from here. Okay, so these are going to be your most important single buttons by themselves, and I'll explain why. Actually, I forgot one. Back one. Where is that? How did I forget? Probably the most important one by far. And then back 2 also. And that, yeah, that's it. That should cover at least the start. So first things first, standing 1. This is a 7-frame high, goes into 1-3, which can be hit confirmed into the microburst, which is very nice. Your combo option. Sensei Berserk, thank you for the host. This is your fastest high, can be converted on hit into a stun. Very easy to hit confirm that as well, but it's a punish as well, so it's better for that. I'm gonna make him auto block. On block, you can turn it into plus frames by doing 1-3-2 to be +3, which means you get the chance to go for a dash down 1 or something like that. There is a gap in between the 1-3 and the 1-3-2, so be careful. You can of course do 1-3 blade spin to be safe on -4, or you can just do 1-3 by itself, which is -5. Standing 2. This will be used pretty much exclusively for jailing plus frames. 2-2 on block is +5. 2 by itself is a 13-frame high, so it's not the best thing to just throw out. But this is mainly used for 2-2. This is a gapless string that, again, on hit, you can hit confirm it into the lunge, into back forward 4, and on block, you're +5, which is really good for her, considering her back 1 is an 11-frame mid. Back 1 goes into back 1-2, back 1-2-1, which is a -7 with decent pushback safe string. No gap. Back 1-2 is again hit confirmable, -7, so it's still safe. But back 1-2 is hit confirmable as well. So if you're generally looking for your mid, this is your option. It's 11 frames, it's hit confirmable, it's safe on block. On block, you do this, or you can go into the blade spin and be -4, or you can do back 1-2. They expect the follow-up, and you can start staggering from it. And on hit, you turn it into microburst as that combos. It does not combo from the max range, so you do have to be careful. See if I can space it deliberately. See if I can get it wrong on purpose. Yeah, it's too close. Literally, as far away as the move connects. It's actually hard to do it wrong, so it's very, very uncommon for it to be wrong. Yeah, there you go. It's very uncommon for that to happen. Deadwood Ken, thank you for the 7-month resub. Welcome back, my friend. Standing 3. This is a 2-hitting high that, on block, is +4. So if you have people really conditioned to respect the plus frames of this, you can start throwing in standing 3 as well. A double hit, it's +5 from there, it kind of varies. Generally speaking, it's +4, +5. But offer, it is a double high, but obviously, you know, if there are elements they stand up into it, they can be hit. And it leads to 3-4-4, which is this. On block, that's -5. Goes into 3-4-4-2, which is unsafe. Is -8. It's a hard punish, but it is a punish that a lot of characters can do something about. So on block, if you want to follow up, your best bet is to go 3-4-4 spin, because at least you're -4. And as soon as they start respecting 3-4-4 spin, there's like very, very little block stun on the 3-4-4. So you might be able to start going for things like 3-4-4 to down 1, or if they're really respecting 3-4-4 into back 1. And as soon as they start pressing buttons, they'll get hit by the blade spin. Down 1, pokes. 8 frame down 1. It's +15 on hit, which means that it's quite tight, but you can jail a standing 1. It's not amazing, but it does work. It's not really something you'll be doing regularly, but it can happen. It's just super weird. Believe it or not, it does work. It's just, I mean, you can see how unpractical this is. I mean, yeah, you can get. Actually, it would help if I make him duck, really, wouldn't it? Yeah. Take my word for it, it works, but you have very little reason to do it, is the short of it. Because you can also do, it's tight, but you can jail that, which is a 13 frame high. So if I make him not block anything, you can jail every down 1. If you're going to jail a high, make it standing 2. Because down 1 is standing 2. On hit, you can confirm it. And on block, you're +5. And +5, 11 frame mid, there's a frame trap. And this is like one of the most important things about Frost by far is this. And I'm going to talk about that a bit more in a second. Down 3 is also 8 frames. So both are down 1 and down 3 are 8 frames. The difference is down 1 has more hit advantage than down 3. So if you're trying to interrupt, if you're trying like stick out a poke, this this has longer reach and has more hit stun. So if you're looking to interrupt, if you're looking to like, you know, make the most out of plus frames, this is the button you want to use. The down 3 is one of the absolute best jump-in normals in the game. Baraka's jump 3, which is very good. Might not get it first time, but look at that, dude. That anti-air is one of the best buttons in the game. She moves low to the ground. Her down 3 reaches. It's not a low, that's the trade-off. Her down 3 is not a low, it is a mid. But it is an anti-air. And off this anti-air, you can do 1-3 drill. You can do back 1-2 drill. And turn that into this, which will build towards a crushing blow we'll talk about. But my favorite ender is this, into 1-3 close core, because that's the closest thing to like a hard knockdown or a splat you'll get in this game, but it does really set up for really good meaties of whatever button you want to follow up with, right? So you're right in their way, and then you can follow up, right? You're a really good amount of advantage. You can set up meaties really well, and that's really useful for that. Down 4 is a very long range down 4. Plus 15 on hit, which means that it's not the easiest to jail from this. If I set him to jump, you'll see like as good as a poke as this is. If I'm close range, you can jail quite easily, right? If I'm point blank, I do a back 1 and it jails. But if I hit from a distance, it's considerably harder. So if you do use this down 4, which again is on block, it's not amazing. So if I down 1, there we go. It's -9 on block, so it's punishable at point blank range. So be very careful with it. At point blank range, you can jail from it easier, but it's punishable. Musgrave, thank you so much for the 100 bits. I appreciate that, dude. But hitting it from a distance, which is its most common way of being hit, don't get used to trying to jail after this, because if you want to chase someone down, chances are they're going to be able to disrespect, they'll backdash, they'll jump. It's very hard for Frost from a range to consistently jail any of her buttons on this, right? Like, I believe she can You can forward 2 to catch jumps, but again, it's not guaranteed because the forward 2, which is this advancing high, is 19 frames. And again, this is plus 14 on hit. So from a range, you're only going to really just get some advantage from this and move in with it, but you're not going to guarantee a button. So depending on what range you are with your down 4, be prepared to not always be able to follow up with it with something that will continue your offense. That being said, you know, if you hit with a down 4 and they jump at you at the air, if they jump back, you move in with them. If they do nothing, you can go for some of your projectile game, which again, we'll talk about in a little bit. And these are just some of the normals, right? We've talked about the headbutt, which is the back 1, the 11 frame mid. Her other strong mid, her back 2. This is a 19 frame, very, very long range mid. I'll show you exactly why here. This reaches from pretty much just about round start, about here. This is about the tip of it. If I go back a little bit further, it still won't. Yeah, so a tiny step back from round start, this is the range. The reason this is good is this goes into back 2-2. And for max range, that won't work. But from when you're close enough, back 2-2 will confirm into the microburst, which again it's a combo, it's a stun. But you have to be careful. If you hit this from long range, you will not get microburst. In fact, you will whiff it. It won't connect at all. So if you connect this from a distance, you want to get used to confirming into the drill and turn that into a bar, because that's 184 for a bar. It's not amazing damage, but it does build towards a very useful crushing blow. So if you're sticking out your back 2 to harass, again, if I make him, actually was already set to block. Let me do that again. If you make him block this, so by itself, it's -4, so that's safe. Back 2-2 is -5, that's also safe. Leads into this, which is the full string, which is -15. So the full string is mid, overhead, overhead. It knocks down on hit. And on block, you're unsafe. So again, you have to be very careful. Again, you can do back 2-2 into spin to be safely -4. And then you're obviously at the mercy of the mind game, which I'll talk about when we get through to the special moves. But that's the gist of the button. Now, gap-wise, this is something where Frost does begin to fall a little bit short. So I'm going to bring out some of her most interesting strings, and I'll show you where there are and are not gaps. I'm trying to think of the strings that are the most useful. Here we go. Right. So these are the Frost strings, right? These are the Frost strings. You've got 1, 3, 2, which, in fact, I'll make him always block. So 1, 3, 2 is +3, but there is a gap. So I'm now going to make him flawless block. Everywhere he flawless blocks, there will be a gap. And when there's a gap, he can punish it. So there's a gap. 1, 3, 4. There's a gap. Back 1, 2, 1. No gap. Safe. Back 2, 2. Gap. So if you want to try and stick this out to hit confirm, be very careful for people to flawless block that second hit on reaction and kill you for it. 3, 4, 4. A gap if you finish the string. And reborn, which is this string. We'll talk about this in a bit more in detail. But back 3, 2, down 1. This is there's a gap everywhere here. But there's a reason I didn't talk about this before, because this is not where you use the string. This pretty much isn't used for that at all. Now, something Frost can do everywhere there's a gap, which really helps her, is blade spin, 14 frames. Even though this is a high projectile, a high special, I should say, it jails every time they crouch. So, for example, if you go for 1, 3, 2, and there's a gap, right? I'm gonna do 1, 3 spin. No gap. Let's do back 2, 2. Gap. Let's do back 2 blade spin. No gap. Let's do back 3, 4, 4, 2. Gap. Let's do 3, 4, 4 spin. Everywhere there is a gap that people will try and kill you for, you can go for the blade spin, and if they try and flawless block, which requires them to let go of block, they will get chewed up by the blade spin, they'll be knocked away, and you'll do damage. And on block, you're -4, which isn't a terrible place for you to be in. So if you're against an opponent that is consistently flawless blocking, you can either start ending strings early and bait the flawless block with a throw or staggering into other buttons, or you can just do the blade spin and be safe, and if they try and flawless block, you will hit them for it. That's something about Frost that's very useful. Now, That is... Let me have a look at my list here that I'm talking about. Okay, that's pretty much the majority of her buttons, for the most part. But aside from her down two is decent, 10 frames. Launches, nothing really too special about it. Let's talk about special moves. So, universally, Frost has... and I think that's it. So universally, she has Core Discharge, which can be done short, medium, or far. It is a 7% high that has a deceivingly good hitbox on it. It hits really far behind it and knocks down. Can be used for an ender after anti-airs, or if you launch like this and you want to be close, you can do something like that. Decent splat and you're nice and close. So this could be a decent ender if you want to end with them point blank, if you want a meaty. Blade Spin, which is this. 14 frames, a lot of hit advantage. Near enough 50 frames of hit advantage. Universally, this is her ender, so both variations will get this. So if you launch your opponent, something similar like back 1-2 spin, obviously they're knocked away. You can chase them down, or you can keep them a distance and then, Blade Spin into the core, or this, which is her next projectile, which is the Cryo stance. This is a high projectile, does just under 8% on hit, can be amplified to deal more, to do 144. The amplified shots are mid, and they do a decent amount of chip damage. Blade Spin, I didn't mention, can also be amplified, and the whole point of Blade Spin is Blade Spin on block is -4, so it's completely safe. It opens up the mind game of, do you poke? Do they have a mid they can enforce? Do they throw you? Can you crouch? Can you walk back? Do they wait? Because it's barely minus, you can also flawless block. If he wants to press a button and I'm going to flawless block and hit with my up 3, you can do that. If you amplify Blade Spin, it's hard to show because he's still flawless blocking, so I'll make him not do that. It does a decent amount of chip damage and hits many more times, but it does become... -7, so it becomes more minus on block. It's 7, so it's a lot harder to punish, but after -7 you are not pressing buttons. You're definitely not pressing anything, but it lasts longer. And if they get hit at any point, let's see if I can space this out. You see what I mean? You get the full hit advantage no matter at what point of the Blade Spin they get hit by. And that's the main use of Blade Spin, is to make things safe on block, to kind of chew up flawless blocks, send them away on hit. And the Cryo stance is obviously the main projectile. And Cyberhead, which is down back 3. Only really useful in the corner, in my opinion, because you do get some cool corner combos. If you, you can, in the corner, you can use it to launch. So meterlessly, you can do back 2-2, Cyberhead, and then, I haven't done this in a while, so bear with me. So back 2-2, Cyberhead, and then I'm doing moves that aren't there. Hang on a minute. Something basic like that. Cyberhead now connects off of a lot of strings in the corner now, because of that change. In the patch, the hit stun for a lot of kinds of hit stun was changed. Hit reactions, I think, is the more accurate word. Cyberhead benefited from that greatly. You can use it in the corner. Cyberhead can be used to launch meterlessly, which isn't so much of a big deal for Ice Machine, but for Frostbite it is. It's not the best damage in the world, but it's not bad by any means either, which is really useful. And you can use it in extended juggles and combos, which I will show you soon. Worth noting, Core Discharge is a universal move, but Frostbite does not have it because it shares the input with the bombs. So Frostbite doesn't have this, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. But Ice Machine gets it. And it actually has deceivingly low recovery, so you can really machine gun these out. It's the second it begins to explode, you can fire another one. And that does decent chip damage, it does decent damage on hit. It's definitely not bad by any means. Now, this variation gets Microburst, the Lunge, and the Glacier Calving. Now, these are very useful moves. Every move here is great. Microburst is your quintessential hit confirm option. You hit mid, you stun. Jump 2, launching string, back 1-2, lunge. That's a basic combo for just under 30% damage. That is decent damage for what it is. Microburst can be confirmed off of 3-4-4, 1-3, back 1-2, And mid-range or closer, back 2-2. Again, I cannot stress the importance of learning your ranges of this, though. Because if it whiffs, you die. But on hit, you get a very scary move. Very, very, very good ability. Not so good for airborne opponents, though. Like, for example, if he... it's mainly good for stunning people on the ground. If he jumps in and I anti-air him, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. The first hit hits, but the rest knocks him away. That works. I was just about to bring on to my next point. Some characters, under certain circumstances, like if I'm very, very close, you can get that. That's not super practical, so I wouldn't rely on that one too much. It's character specific and it depends on where you are. The closer you anti-air, the more likely that is to hit. But on the risk of dropping it, I just do this. You can do this into the, you know, the lunge for decent damage. And that brings me on, and also the microburst. If your opponent is in the corner, you can turn, for example, anti-airs or jump kicks, for example. You can stun them in the corner because they don't move. So in the corner, microburst will stun off of launched opponents and give you very good damage. If you anti-air, you can do the same thing. So if he jumps at me, that's going to freeze, that's going to stun, and then you can end it wherever you want. So it's range dependent, mainly grounded, but in the corner and against certain characters, if you're very, very close off of like anti-airs and stuff, you can freeze too. But generally speaking, it's your grounded hit confirm, it's your, you know, your confirm, your stun in the corner. If they're close enough, then the microburst will hit. But you have to make sure that you're close enough for that to be the case. Auger Lunge. Now, this move is actually low-key very good and comes with it a great crushing blow. I will talk about the crushing blow separately after, though, so I'll only mention it right now briefly. Back forward 4. This is a really good ender for decent damage. If you amplify this by itself, it does 144 damage. So that's a decent amount of damage for what it is. It has a crushing blow, which is land 3 amplified versions of it, and then the next normal version you hit will crushing blow. And again, I'll talk about those soon. But this is pretty much your confirm for decent unbreakable damage. But this is where it gets weird. So the blade spin does 74. The normal lunge does 80. Amplified lunge is 140. Amplified spin is 142. So if you're going for unbreakable grounded damage, it's actually the amplified blade spin that's more optimal. So for example, if I like stun someone with this, if I go 3, 4, 4 and then spin my second bar, this is all unbreakable as well because I've not left the ground. That's 311. If I do the exact same thing with the blade spin, 312. So it's actually slightly more damaging to do the amplified blade spin for the unbreakable damage. But that's a decent chunk of unbreakable damage. The Auger Lunge is also your best ender for situations that you can't go for the burst. So from a max range back 2, you can do this. Decent damage, build towards that crushing blow. For an anti-air, you can do it, same situation. Jump kick, so if you hit a jump kick, that's a really good anywhere confirm. So a late jump kick, confirm. An early jump kick, confirm. Very good conversion off of jump kicks. And Cynical Razor, thank you for the 7 months, my friend. Welcome back. And Down 1 is the Glacier Carving. This is a shield that absorbs a projectile and destroys itself. So if I do this, that's going to happen. But if he does Amplified, first one hits and the second one goes through. Against characters with single hit projectiles or like slower projectiles, this is an incredible tool. Because it moves forward, you can shoot behind it, you can go for your, you know, your shots, you can go for the core, all with a big shield in front of you, which means that you're going to trade favorably. The only thing that shuts this down is very quick projectiles, characters that can really pump out the shots fast, like Sonya Ring Blast, Liu Kang Fireballs, anything that is just coming like, you know, damage, non-stop. Or projectiles that don't count as projectiles don't hit the shield, like Scarlet Tongue, Shang Tsung Corpse Drop, ironically her own mortar, the core shot. Anything like that won't destroy it, so be careful. You can amplify this to make it last longer and move faster, so you can kind of use that to get in. It's situational, but can work. And her Fatal Blow. Her Fatal Blow is incredible. One of the best in the game, I think. It is 17 frames, goes full screen as a beam. You can use it for reaction whiff punishes on projectiles. You can use it for, obviously, unbreakable damage. Very strong all around. But not to be wasted. Optimal damage-wise, the most damage you can do if you manage to find yourself a microburst. The easiest damage is to just do this. Like, you get a string, you do a jump into, it's a 3-4-4 Fatal Blow. And it's actually very important, because her Fatal Blow will scale very heavily if you do too many hits first. So watch this. This will do 365 off the back 1-2. So 365. This is the only time she'll do this. The early crossover jump kick, the Sub-Zero style of making them fly towards you, will do more damage. So that's 391. So that's like a 3% increase. Near enough 40%. It's very important to know your optimals with her, because you do not want to blow that Fatal Blow and have it scale too hard. That's what you kind of need to see, really, for the most part. But it's very good as the Fatal Blow. You know, you can establish the threat of it. Then being scared of Fatal Blow might give you some more, freedom to kind of go for the carving or your shot, stuff like that. Very good. And I just remembered a button I haven't talked about, so forward 2. You see a lot of Frost players do this. I would advise against it. It has its place. It can ranged whiff punish for the 7% that it does. But it's a high. If they crouch it, which is very easy to do, you will die. Like if I just get him to crouch and then do that. Like, you can punish it very easily. You can down 2, you can wait for her to hit the floor and get a full standing punish. It's safe on block, but you die on whiff. So it's very, very easy to use that too often. So I would very much advise against using forward 2 if you can help it. Her throw game, there's not much to say there, really. Her front throw, they both send them pretty far away. So you're about mid-screen distance. You get a forward dash, but you're about here, which is good range for some of your buttons. Back throw. Near enough the same kind of thing. She has the same situation with her throws. But that leads me on to the crushing blows. Her crushing blows are both throws, and I'll quickly turn on easy crushing blows to show this off. Both throws crushing blow, which is really useful for her. Given the fact that now her mid is so good, people are going to be forced to block a lot more than they used to. A lot of people would kind of like try and mash and disrespect. If you've been like jailing into your back 1 enough and you've really got people blocking, you can then start going for the throws, almost like the noob Cybot effect, where as soon as they're threatened by this, then they're going to start blocking. You can start going for throws. A good thing about Frost is, because she has crushing blow throws, if you do get a freeze on someone, you can combo into it on a frozen opponent for a very respectable chunk of damage. The only problem is, it is not something that if I wait and then just keep mashing 2, that should be enough. There we go. You can tech out of stuns in this game. So if you want to go for that, it's still going to be a 50-50. Your opponent has to guess what direction you're going to do. They can't tech both ways. But it is something that, don't get too comfortable doing it. However, again, you have access to really good plus frames. If you go for like 2-2 and they start respecting this, because this will jail. If you're quick enough, back 1-2 will jail. So if they start respecting this, you can start going in for throws and a crushing blow. Very useful indeed. Next, she has down 2, of course, universally. Pre-patch, this was the optimal. Not even that. This was the optimal. It was even worse. Wow, what an amazing combo that is. 350 damage. So amazing. Now she can do this. That's too high. Thanks to the speeding up of the back 1, You have to really wait. This is my bad. I haven't done it in a little while. There you go. So from 350 to 427. Considerably more damage. The trick to this is they have to be really low to the ground, like real low, like that low. Like they have to be like your midsection. Into microburst, and I'm trash. I'm really trash. So this looks complicated, but it actually isn't really. You want to go for down 2, a low down 1. So I'm going to pause this piece by piece to show you. That's too high. The reason you want them low is because the lower they are, the less... Okay, this is fine. You want to jump, a late jump kick, like right on that top, right as you cross them over. They'll then fly over you, and when they're flown over you, you do a 1-3. So I'll show you that piece together. Late back 1, jump over, late jump kick. They cross over, you do 1-3 lunge. And that's the trick to doing the down 2 crushing blow. In the corner, you can pretty much keep it as basic as you want. So if you get it here, you can do something like back 1-2, and then jump kick, same thing. You can do some interesting things in the corner, actually. You can do like this, something like that. You have quite a lot amount of freedom in the corner, which is very nice. You also have back 2 on counter hits. So if this counter hits or punishes, you will launch. Mid-screen, back 1-2, lunge. Not terrible damage. 300 damage mid-screen. Another combo that is much easier in the corner because you get good damage from it. Then jump kick, back 1 spin, and spin the bar for more damage if you want to. But that's decent damage. You also have the lunge. So this is the crushing blow for the lunge. It's a launch, which again lets you move in for a follow-up. To get that one, you have to land 3 amplified lunges and then hit a normal one. Which means that once you've hit 3 of them, you can hit confirm into it. So you can spend the crushing blow and then follow up. But this one in particular benefits greatly from the corner. You get what I believe is her real max damage in the corner, which is really nice. So if you do manage to, you know, catch the 3-4-4, go to this. I'll do something a little bit easier here. That's too low, I think. Okay, no, that's okay. And that's like a good 44% damage for what it is. 1 bar, you get like 1.5% less, so it's not bad. But very good damage. When it comes to her crushing blows, though, the general mind game is... I don't really like using them when the opponent has breakaway. If they have breakaway, and you see this counter hit, just go into microburst. Because you can launch them with this meterlessly. Get them to break away here, because then they won't have breakaway for the next hit, right? You get the best damage she has off of this in the corner and the lunge in the corner. So it's not really worth using them unless you get this from max range and you just want to hit this, you know, launch-wise without having to worry about the microburst whiffing. It's usually worth, if you hit this, I would recommend still going for microburst when you can, until they have no breakaway. Then with no breakaway in the corner, it means you will get the maximum damage from both of those crushing blows, and they are very, very useful to have outside of that. That pretty much is the bulk of her crushing blows, though. You've got the lunge, and let's have a look. You have, I've talked about that one already. I'm just triple checking these to make sure I haven't forgotten anything, because that's the kind of mistake I would make. Down 2, yep, universal, and the throws. Right, so and then there's her crushing blows. Combo-wise, you're pretty much looking to keep it as simple as possible, you know? Like, opener, we've talked about this before, opener, stun, jump 2 for max damage, but you have to do it late, because if you do a jump 2 too early and then miss a button, it won't work. You can always do jump 1. You know, if you're having trouble doing jump 2, do jump 1 into the launch. And then, this is what I do. If you launch him with back 3, do down 1. that's my mid-screen optimal for the spin ender. You can go for... If you want to keep it simple with a lunge, you can just do back 1-2 lunge. But that leads me on to a point that is something that you should really keep in mind. If I play as Baraka here, I'm gonna make her do this combo, right? Actually, I do need the full thing. I'm gonna make her do this, right? Frost is very prone to dying to breakaways if they know you're gonna end in the lunge. So this is what you want to do. She ends in the lunge, right? So if you wait for her to do the lunge, if you do that perfectly, you can kill her for doing that. Let me just... Right, make her do this. Right, so she's going to launch. Right, I'm messing up the timing. You see, I almost had it there, almost had it there. There you go, that's the one. So, if you, as the defender, know the timing, anywhere she goes into the lunge, you can break away just before, and if she goes for the lunge, you can stand up and punish her for free. She can keep herself much more breakaway safe. Like, if you are the Frost player and they have breakaway, but you really want to go to damage, you don't only just let it drop outright. This is what you want to do. Instead of going 1, 1, 3, or lunge, do blade spin. If you do the blade spin, I'm not going to stand up and punish her. If I stand up in time to punish, I'm going to stand up into the blade spin. She will recover in time. Because she's physically, by the time you get up, she is still spinning around, and that move cannot be whiff punished. So to keep yourself breakaway safe, you must go for the blade spin, otherwise you stand a chance of dying, and you don't want to be throwing away your own defensive bar by getting opened up, unfortunately. And I believe that's the bulk of like just the general overview, right? That's pretty much it. So now I've kind of given you a rough overview of the whole kind of character. Let's talk about applications, right? Let's talk for a second, and there's not gonna be as much kind of demonstrating here because it's, you know, you have a lot of match footage to watch of me playing to see this being used properly. She is, all intents and purposes, a mid-screen, you know, not to kind of, you know, bring the meme back, but she is a mid-screen neutral character. She has amazing control. I'm playing the wrong character, I'm so bracket. She has amazing control of the screen with long-range buttons, the ability to make them safe, the ability to stagger after her mid, her anti-air, the threat of the blade spin, usable plus frames like 1, 3, 2 plus frames, 2, 2 plus frames, off a jump kick, being able to gel easily into back 1, crushing blow throws, counter hit crushing blows. She ticks a lot of boxes in this game to use, but she's more about kind of like the tiny details, you know, keeping yourself safe, not overcommitting too much, playing on a life lead without throwing yourself away. This is really what she is built to do. She isn't really hard countered by anything per se. I'm yet to find a matchup that I feel like is completely unwinnable, and she is considerably better than she was before. But it's just her overall control of the overall control of the screen, right? And how she dictates the pace of the match. It's very easy to kind of overcommit and throw too many projectiles. You have to remember your projectiles are still highs. But fundamentally, you know, if you have the life lead, this is your best friend. You know, having the life lead, going for the carving, establishing this projectile, knocking down. Ash, thank you so much for the host, dude. Mixing up when you go for these or not, because that does a nice amount of damage. She's very, very tidy overall. And that's pretty much it for like a basic rundown, right? I know this video probably got quite long, but you know, I like to go into detail with the specific moves and stuff like that. But that really is a rough way of just playing this character. You know, she has a decent amount of moves that are very effective. She's not the most complicated character in the game. We don't have to learn every move in her arsenal, but you definitely have to know how to use the moves that you have, right? It sounds confusing, but I hope you know what I mean. If you want anything a bit more in-depth or specific, please make sure to ask away. If you want to see any more other characters, I'll be happy to provide as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Good luck with Frost and have fun. I'll see you guys later.